In this video we'll explore criminal law, and particular New York State criminal law, a bit more. As mentioned before, there's a lot of situations in which the computer plays a role in conducting a crime. In that case, there's really still criminal activity, but it's not computer-specific criminal activity. For example, if we're dealing with fraud and we're trying to defraud someone via emails, for example. At that point, the crime is fraud. It's not necessarily a computer-specific crime that is being committed. However, under New York State law, and also under many other places around the globe, there are computer crime-specific titles in the law. First of all, in New York State, the Penal Code, Article 15, defines a number of different crimes. First one is unauthorized use of a computer, and it goes up from there. Unauthorized trespass, unauthorized tampering, unlawful duplication of computer-related material, and unlawful possession of computer-related materials. So let's take a quick peek at each of them. So unauthorized use of a computer means that a computer is guilty of the crime of unauthorized use of a computer when he or she knowingly uses, causes to be used, or accesses a computer service, or a computer network without authorization. And that's where the key is. It's all about having the proper authority. If you are allowed to use a system, there's no problem. If you are not allowed, there is a problem. And of course, in the gray area, you cannot just assume that because the computer system is in front of you, you are allowed to use it. And then even the nature of the use is different as well. If you've been given access to a computer for a specific purpose and you decide to completely use it for something that is maybe even opposite to the purpose you were given access for, it still means that you do not have authorization. The crime includes the actual hands-on use of the computer, but also cause to be used, so making someone else do something for you. And that's a key concept there. Everything else builds on this. If you have authority to use a computer system in the way that you're using it, you are not committing a crime. In New York State, the unauthorized use is a misdemeanor offense. A step up from the misdemeanor is trespass. Before you can conduct trespass, you have to already have done unauthorized use. So if you have authority to use a system in the way that you're using it, then you're not trespassing. But if you're going to use a system in a way that you do not have authorization, and you do so with a specific intent to commit, or try to commit, or help commit a felony, then now you're trespassing. Or if you are accessing a computer specifically with the purpose of gaining access to materials stored on that computer. So there's two criteria there. The first one is, did you have authority to be on that computer in the first place? If the answer is yes, then this doesn't apply. If the answer is no, then there's additional constraints there, and basically say, are you using this computer to conduct or help someone conduct a felony, or make them conduct a felony? And were you doing this to gain access to data on a computer? Now, that is a felony, and that's significantly more severe than just a misdemeanor. The misdemeanor, again, is the unauthorized use. Now, at this point, we have gained access to a computer. We're doing that in order to gain data or to manipulate it. If we start manipulating the computer, now we have a problem. First of all, we have to have that unauthorized use condition met again. So, again, with authority, this cannot happen. But if we don't have the authority and then we are using that authority or that access we have to destroy computer data or a program of another person, then you're tampering with the computer. And let's look back at our CIA triangle: confidentiality and integrity. Confidentiality came from the previous one. Integrity comes from this one. And again, up to 15 years in jail. This is a felony. Now, of course, that doesn't mean that for the first small offense you're likely to get 15 years in jail, but if you show a repeated pattern, or if you've done significant damage, it is a possibility. The next step then is, let's say that you have gained access to that data and you have been able to manipulate it. Now, if you're duplicating it and you're using your access to copy data that you should not have had access for in the first time, and you're doing that to commit further felonies, now that's a problem. Again, in its own right, it's only a misdemeanor, but the rest of the felonies and the intent for those, of course, those still stand. And then lastly, it's criminal possession, and that is a felony. So the mere act of copying data is a misdemeanor, but if you then actually hold on to that copied data, or if you receive copied data from someone knowingly that it was indeed illegally obtained, now you're holding data that you shouldn't have had in the first place, and now you're possessing computer-related data. So the verbiage is this: a person is guilty of criminal possession of computer-related material while having no right to do so. So, an authority. That person knowingly possesses, so you have to know that this came from illegal activities, in any form, any copy, reproduction, or duplicate of any computer data or any computer program, which was copied, reproduced, or duplicated in violation with the law. And then secondly, with the intent to benefit himself or herself or a person other than the owner. So you start copying data, you start holding on to those copies, and you're doing that to gain something from it, whether it's you or someone else. Now we're back in felony land. And this is something that we see very often from the computer trespass, from the unauthorized use, tampering. All of those concepts are very familiar to someone with a cybersecurity background, because they immediately come back to that confidentiality and integrity of data. And so that is how New York State looks at computer-specific laws. Again, all the other laws still apply, and whether or not you use a computer with those, you might still be in violation. Again, this was not legal advice. I am not a lawyer. I have no intentions to ever be a lawyer. This is just my superficial understanding of what cyber law is in New York State. If you want to learn more, take the Adelphi University course on cyber ethics and cyber law.